Good morning, everyone. My name is David Nash, and today's topic is Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson. By the time we are born infants not knowing who to follow. Only thing there is to follow for us is the first person we lay eyes upon. Whether those eyes we see be our moms, dad, and other blood and non-blood related people. We are eager for guidance. Since we do not know how to lead from infancy, we seek the leadership from others who also do not know how to lead. Truly a problem with mankind, the deviation leading to infancy. However, what we all have within ourselves that gets better over time as we grow is the ability to learn how to do anything we put our minds to. Even in unexpected bad times, we can change others' minds about things in society with just one mind. That mind being our own individual minds. With that, we can be our own person, which is what Ralph Waldo Emerson would want. Who is Ralph Waldo Emerson? Ralph Waldo Emerson is the son of a Unitarian minister, an essayist, poet, and popular philosopher, born on May 25, 1803 in Boston, Massachusetts. He is well known in the educational fields for his stories and essays like Nature, American Scholar, and Self-Reliance. Due to his well-thoughtful stories and essays on self-reliance and nature, he started a movement that most people know as Transcendentalism. The essay called Self-Reliance has many themes, one of them being the battle to lead or to follow, and whether or not the ones you pick determine whether or not you're either a self-reliant person or not. Interesting fact about how the first essay called Self-Reliance was made. It all started due to the Emerson's radical way of thinking when he realized something needed to change within the college and religion he was enrolled into. Which leads me to point out the main theme of self-reliance is having a radical way of thinking and doing things regardless of the consequences. Moreover, while Emerson believed in having a radical way of thinking, he realized others had some but lacked hope in their thoughts or believed they had no radical thinking at all. Because in society, people's thoughts or opinions do not matter. Since people's thoughts do not matter in society, what makes you think an individual person's thoughts matter? What this quote means to me is that it does not matter who cares about your thoughts or opinions. For the other person that should care about your thoughts and opinions is yourself, first and foremost. Because a great person is not a great person because they want people to care about their thoughts or opinions, but a great person is one who cares about whether or not they, as an individual, care about their own thoughts and opinions, first and foremost. Because if you don't care about your own thoughts and opinions, then you wouldn't even speak about your own events in the world. You know, you wouldn't even give your 2 cents because to you, your opinions and thoughts don't matter to yourself. Which in turn would kind of make it not matter to anyone else. But until you actually value your own thoughts and opinions as an individual, then eventually people will follow suit. Like moths to a flame of light. Emerson is a thoughtful person. Since he is a thoughtful person, he realized that one of the main reasons as to why people put other thoughts or opinions above their own thoughts and opinions is because they do not value their thoughts. They do not value their thoughts because they do not trust themselves. But what that quote means to me is in order to be a self-reliant person, you have to trust yourself. For if you do not trust yourself, then how can you trust others? For a self-reliant person is not a person who is quick to trust other people, aka they're not that gullible. No offense. But a self-reliant person is a person who will trust their own radical way of thinking and doing things, regardless if their trust may be swaying other directions. Additionally, Emerson noticed how the older generations took the younger generations after them as not to be taken seriously. Because of the common claim that we are younger and less experienced, we must not know what we are talking about or doing. We must not know even how to think for ourselves or even be our own individual, coming from the minds of previous generations who had all the answers back then and even now. However, due to how Emerson's radical way of thinking, he realized that the younger generation had been underestimated by the older generation for far too long. For this quote means to me that just because a person is young does not mean that they are dumb, or, in many cases, less experienced. Many times we see ourselves being submissive under things for which society influences us to do. For example, back in the 17th centuries, hoarders were considered rich due to how much stuff they bought or have in their place. Now, in present day, to be a hoarder is an odd thing to be. However, Emerson may believe otherwise. For you all see to me, this quote means that to truly be a self-reliant individual, you must not follow the trends of the era for which you are born into, but instead do the opposite. In this time, the most common and submissive thing that anyone can do as an individual is do what the majority is doing. When someone or a group says you cannot do something, prove them or that individual wrong by doing exactly what he, she, or they claimed you could not. Even if you fail to prove them wrong in the process, still try. Because if you do not, then are you really a self-reliant person, or are you just a conformist? Your mind has many wonders. Your mind has many thoughts. Your mind has many ideas that can not only shape our surroundings, but even the world. Due to the fact that I realized that I'm sure Emerson also realized that fact. However, that is not the only thing that this quote is telling me. This quote also means to me that our minds are all, and all things within them are so great that it can trick other minds into revealing things that can question the thought process of our minds. Just think about it. Our minds are great that it takes special people to tap into it. And once they accomplish that, who knows what they or we might discover within the process. But what we all think or believe in our individual minds as a person could shape our reality as well as others. We have all been there once or twice in our lives. The times where we needed help or guidance with something in our lives. Whether that something we needed help with was a project or studying, we needed to depend on other people for help. But the help was not there because the people who was offering help was not able. And the people who were able were not willing to help someone other than themselves. Instead, the only help you had was yourself. It's the same with this quote. If we depend on the people all our lives, or even for a few moments, then we are bound to be let down in most cases. When generally the only person who is not going to let us down is ourselves. Even for those few moments when help was offered, and the outcome of that help made circumstances worse than before. In that case, it's best to not accept help from other people, even when they offer it to us, because we may never know others' true intentions. They could, and in many cases would, start trouble when the chance is given. How can we be our own person if we constantly use others' masterpieces as our own mode or model? If you believe that to be great is to be a carbon copy of the original, then you may be mistaken, for Emerson and even I think otherwise. For to me, this quote means that to be a self-reliant person fully, you must never use others people's ideas except your own. You can accept some people's ideas as a possibility, but a real self-reliant person would never copy. They would figure out a way to make what others offer or display to them their own, without incorporating others' input into their own masterpieces. Because if we do copy others, then can we truly call ourselves a self-reliant person? If so, how can we? For whatever we call our own masterpiece is not truly our own masterpiece if all we did was copy from someone else. And last but not least is my recited pages. And yes, I said pages because I researched a lot from these particular quotes. This is the first recited page. We have another, and it's right here. And with that, you guys have a good, self-reliant, educational, productive, and safe day. See you guys.